Welcome to another episode of the brand called You, a video and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Today, it is my privilege to welcome a very, very accomplished individual from Switzerland, Kristin Engvig, to our show. Kristin, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here with you.
Thank you. Kristin is the founder and CEO of WIN, which is Women's International Networking. She is amongst the top 10 influential women in global diversity, and we're going to talk of global diversity. She has worked with JP Morgan, Citibank, and Innovation Norway, and she's educated as an actor and practices Kundalini Yoga. That's quite an accomplishment, Kristin. So tell me, what would you say are three key milestones in your life or your career?
Oh, that's so interesting. I think maybe the first milestone was also that of moving abroad and just traveling the world. I mean, I went to Australia, then I gone to Japan, I lived in Italy. But the very first one, it was just going and living in another country. And the second one was to start the WIN organization, so leave the big corporate safety and so on, and to start my own business.
Okay.
I must also say, having a child was another milestone. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit now about WIN, Women's International Networking.
Yes.
Tell me about this venture.
Exactly. So this is a very interesting because I had left my home country, Norway, and I've been around the world. And I was working. I did on top of all these other things I'd done. I did an MBA, and then I started to work in big corporate, and which was very interesting. But there were many moments when I felt, I don't know, I didn't feel really 100% myself. It was as if something was a bit not really fitting. If I had clothes that didn't really fit myself. So I started to reflect a bit on that. And after a few years, I left the banking and I started to work with some projects with my university and also with Innovation Norway and EU. And I traveled around, particularly Eastern Europe, teaching marketing. And as I traveled more and more, I realized that I have been very lucky and privileged because I had freedom. I chose to travel. Okay. I chose to go and work in a bank. I chose to live it. I had what you can call freedom to choose. Okay. And then I realized so many people in the world didn't have that freedom, and particularly women. I also thought, wow, when I'm traveling here, wouldn't it be nice if I had someone I knew, another woman I can be with. Sometimes I was in big teams with lots of men and myself. That was a thought I had. And back in Milan, where I lived at the time, I was very active in a local women's network. And I thought, well, that provided in some ways a community, a family for me. And that gave me a sense of safety, a sense of security to take also more risk. So I thought, how can we expand that and do more? So I started WIN with the goal of, one, make sure that on a bigger scale in the whole world, we can work in our little mini steps to make sure that more people, and particularly women, have freedom to choose. Okay. For their lives. Correct. And two, that the workplace could feel us inclusive, so we don't need to feel we have clothes on that don't really fit us, but where we can be ourselves and really flourish. And then thirdly, if we can recreate that feeling of almost a family, of a community, of being together, so we feel always supported to really flourish. Okay. Yeah. And so tell me, two separate questions. Why is it necessary to have a separate forum for women? And how and why is networking so important for us? Yes, and this is so interesting. So first of all, on the question of separate for women, I think, yes, what can we say? So if you look at, there's a famous study by Harvard from 1952, it's on the nursing school actually, that say that when women are stressed, actually, when we are with other women, we thrive and we de-stress. So that's a study that's done. Okay. Now, I think for this point in history, and we are about to change this, it has been necessary to come together only women, particularly so that when I do big WIN conferences, we meet over several days, and it's been a chance, or at least before COVID, it was a chance for many women to feel, this is who I am as myself. Correct. Because so many women enter into big workplaces, they adopt a more masculine style or a different style. So they almost lost touch with the feminine in them, or they're authentic. So I wanted to create a safe space where we could find our back to ourselves, let's say, because we are always that.
Correct.
So that was a necessity. Now, once that job is done, once we feel that, okay, I don't need to feel approved by a man or any of those things, you don't necessarily need it. Although, from time to time, it's simply just fun to be in those spaces. But it's not, it's very, very important that it's not just to alienate men or any of those things. The feminine is about collaboration, it's about finding space, and it's about caring and sharing. So this is also so important. It becomes very clear. So that's why that was important. And I hope that it's, as we go forward in time, and I think this is starting to happen more and more now, we can be more and more together, because it's not about women and men. It's more that we needed to give value to the more feminine qualities of that is in all of us, the caring, the sharing, using our intuition, having empathy. And that it's not owned by women. This is in so many fine men I know also. And it hasn't been valued enough in society. I think this time we are living, we're starting to see how important it is. Your second question again?
I know, and my second question was that why is networking so important, both
why
professionally
networking?
and personally?
Yes, actually, it's really interesting. And I see, from what I know in certain cultures, this is very, very natural. Even in India, see, you're so communicative and talking to everybody. And I lived a long time in Italy, and I had a workshop on how to network. And, it was really not necessary in such a culture. People are good at it by nature.
Correct.
But I think it's different for you. You always need to teach it. It's not the same culture. People are not the same outgoing. Now, why is it important? It's important because to learn how to create a net that we can almost also call a safety net. Sometimes we talk about that. So networking can be a working net. So that, yes, we have our knowledge, we have our experience, we have all those things, but having also a group of people that you support and that's supporting you back, it's incredibly important. And the way, it's also about how do we network, because there's been networks existing where it's hard to network yourself into because it's closed, let's say. So what I wanted to do was to democratize or to make it possible to create a new network where we are networking with each other in a new way, where purpose, passion, joy is part of it. So it's not only an exchange, I network because I need a new job, but maybe I network because I'm so excited about being with this person. This person makes me feel lit up, or I, by listening to that person, makes him or her lit up. So our networking is now almost in a post-materialistic time, or we need that too, of course, but it is this, how can we network actually with purpose and passion? And having connections, because it's really about relationships, and connections probably never been more important.
So, when I was going through your profile and I was reading, I was thinking when I was growing up, and I'm 64 and, 42, 43 years of working, networking meant how many visiting cards could you exchange at a conference? And now in the world of social media, people are talking of hundreds and thousands of people who they're connected to. How is networking changing with social media?
It's so interesting what you're saying, and the numbers are crazy, right? So I think it is changing a lot, and at the same time, I notice, and I think many people notice, that on social media, I sometimes connect. I use it a lot with people I've already talked to before, or that I'm introduced to by someone I have spoken to before. And of course, still now there are people who write me out of the blue. They connected and they see, oh, Kristin, I see we are connected to so-and-so on LinkedIn and we have 7 people in common. I wanted to write to you because blah, blah, blah. So I see that what the social media has done is that it has lowered the boundary on the one hand. So we can meet more people that are more interested in the same things as us. So that's amazing. And at the same time, also, I think we need to, all people, sometimes we also need to feel safe, let's say. And there are sometimes people write to us on social media and you don't know who are they. And it can be good and bad, let's say. So I still think some of the etiquettes that we had when we meet live were, okay, I'm so-and-so, I would like to introduce you to another person. This sort of feeling introduced, to have a context for or connection
Yeah.
is important. And that's important online also. So if I'm introduced by somebody who I know to somebody I don't know, and that introduction, so I think this etiquette of introducing, etc., is important online too, because everybody can contact you, and who are all these people? We don't always know.
Very interesting. And your thoughts on a young individual who's starting out on their career, what do they do to start building networks?
Exactly. This is very, very important. I think, okay, start with, build your LinkedIn profile. Let's say
Okay.
that's of course important.
Yeah.
And as we are, and also for them too, at university or in the young days, also build very good relationships with those you are studying with and where you are, because I sometimes said that also at my big conferences. I meet people, they want to talk to the senior leaders that are speakers, etc. And I said, yeah, that's good. But also build very good relationships where you are right now. Keep those and be a good person, because you don't know in the future where that person goes. And if I support you and you support me right now, we will continue to support each other into the future.
Correct.
Of course, those that are just starting out, of course, they need to also how do you get into the job market, how do you get up? So I think it's just be awake, listen, go to webinars, go to when we can meet again, go
Correct.
out and meet people a little bit in other areas than just your student thing. If you have a chance to be invited to internships, ask to get scholarships, go to conferences, be part of it.
Wonderful. So one more question for you on WIN before I move to the next segment. You've built an amazing organization. Talk to me about what are some of your core values as you were building this organization.
Yes, that's very important. And values is sort of what has been very, very important to me also over the years. No, I think it's the value of connection is very important for me. So exactly this of building connections has been some of the fundamental in my work. Also, I've had a very strong all these values that we talked about, the value of compassion, of passion, of caring for each other and sharing. So the values of the feminine, but it's in all of us, have been extremely strong drivers for me. So my work has almost been an advocacy for that, I will say. So these integral values. And also, I have had a value of creating, if I can put it this way, so that what the agenda for events and everything is something that's emerging. So not to copy, just always create the new by listening to people, listening to the world, listening to the organizations, and what we can collect from that, and what wants to see the world is what I create. So some of my value of creating the new, pioneering, caring, sharing, all the aspect around authenticity. And that's been a strong driver. It's sometimes been so difficult, but you stay in those values and you can do it.
Fantastic. So, Christine, let's talk about the next topic, which is on diversity and inclusion.
Yes.
And you are a very, very influential woman in the sector. My question to you is that why is diversity and inclusion becoming so important and relevant today?
Yeah, well, today it's I think there are two things. I think on the one level, we can talk about it almost from an evolutionary perspective. I think it's as if now we had the phase of globalization, we have had all of that, but now it's almost as we're in this phase where you and me and everybody also are growing, and now we can grow as humans from the inside. But now by meeting other people that are different from ourselves, we also have a chance to look at ourselves.
Correct.
And I think that in those meetings is a chance for all of us to grow. So from an evolutionary perspective, we all are sort of confronted and affronted with these sort of differences. So that's a part of it. And I think maybe that's why it's become so important. And of course, also the values of society right now, when we have had so many issues, it's coming. It's exactly these values I talk about. Now they're so apparent. We need to share. We need to care. And people are waking up to what's been unjust. And I think it's as if now we don't tolerate that anymore. I mean, A lot of us have never tolerated that, but most people actually. But I know it's on a mass scale. So I think from an evolutionary perspective is important, but also this sort of we are waking up. That's not fair. That's not just, and that's not right. And then the diversity and inclusion as a sort of topic is that also how do I do it? So what's common agenda now is also I need to learn the capacities, I need to learn the skills, I need to learn the human or dig out, or I used to use those human qualities that I actually have, because we all have it. We just sometimes it's more hidden. How can I embrace? How can I celebrate the many uniquenesses of mankind? How can I be inclusive of that? And also, how can I set boundaries? Because there is not everything to be accepted and inclusive about. This is also, I had a phase in my life, let's try to be inclusive of everything. I was just an experiment in my journey. No, here. No, there are also boundaries. So that can be no matter pigmentation or age or anything.
Well said. But, if you look at it across the world, the countries that you come from, the Scandinavian countries or Switzerland, they are far more developed in terms of diversity and inclusion. And yet, when I talk to friends there is work to be done there. When you look at countries like India or China or some of the other developing part of Europe, what, in your opinion, should be done to correct this imbalance, which should always be 50-50 at least?
Yes, I think it's a lot of awareness building. I mean, so what you see now in the media, there's a lot in the media, and still I think it is very much on the individual level, where each and every one of us need to have the chance also to meet with someone different than yourself. And I know now, so when we have the chance, it's also take personal responsibility to meet somebody different from you. So if you can have lunch with that person, if you can have dinner with that person, if you can go for a walk, hire someone a little different from you. It's a way to bring them in so you can grow. If it's just them and us, which can easily happen, no matter how much it's written about in the media, it becomes more difficult. So I think we need to build awareness. So we need to talk about it, share about it, invite people together. And because there are a lot of kind people out there who are just not aware. Even when we talk about gender diversity, I know a lot of men who wake up, they're like, when their daughters started working and they start enter their career, and then the men, they say, my daughter didn't have the same chances. And then they wake up. But it's not like they were bad or anything. They just hadn't thought about it before. So I think there is most people, when it comes to race, caste, any of those things, it's just not something they've thought so much about. And that's the same with gender.
Very true.
And then there are some people, of course, that are manipulative, and those people, they need boundaries, they need legal, they need all those things. But the majority just need to be walking up.
Correct. So, I'm sure you've heard this old saying from India, and my grandmother used to talk about it. Always that if you educate a girl, you educate a family.
Yes.
Because she then changes the entire outlook of her family.
That's so beautiful.
Therefore empowers and much greater inclusivity in the entire family. So one more question for you, and this, Christine, is the age of the millennials. And millennials think very, very differently. What is your experience of the thought process of millennials on diversity and inclusion?
Yes, it's interesting because I see these young people now. Some of them take it more for granted. They're like, I asked, as I have a young son, he's a little younger than millennials maybe, but I asked, where's your friend from? And he said, no, that's an old-fashioned question. It doesn't matter where they're from. Correct. So this type of thing, it's I think that's what's coming. That where my friends are from, or it has not so it's no longer so important for them. Correct. So this is really great, and I just hope it stays like that.
I hope so.
So they're tech savvy, globally savvy. They are not so concerned woman, man, nationality, culture, any of those things. So I hope that's our hope, I think.
When I talk to millennials, I think the world is in very, very good hands
Yeah.
because they think completely differently, no baggage, nothing.
Yeah, it's so lovely. It's very inspiring.
So let's move to the last section of our conversation, which is some questions for you personally. Christine, so much recognition, so much success, doing things that you enjoy doing. What does success mean to you?
Yeah, wow, that's interesting. Definitely it means to me. I see that I love when someone is success means also that I have impacted on people. If I can see there is change, like even when we work with my big conference, let's say, and if I see people who are in the all, I call it in the old paradigm of control over and hierarchy, etc. If I can see their passion in their eyes, or something that, oh, there is another way. I can share, I can care, and that's okay. So I think I get a big kick out of seeing transformation in front of my eyes. I get also a lot of kick out of, we have supported many initiatives in Nigeria, in Cameroon, in Kenya, as if we're exactly by supporting girls. And the impact is huge with just even a little effort, but we have to do a little effort. Correct. Nothing happens without this effort. If I just do my normal thing, you don't really create change. So for me, success is this having impact and seeing more, in some ways, joy and caring and sharing. I get a kick out.
And therefore, a follow-up question to you is that you keep doing so many things and you keep doing them so selflessly. What inspires you?
Yeah, it's I am very inspired by changing the world. Sometimes I think I find myself, you're still like a teenager in the sense of my idealistic view. Right. But it's true. I am very inspired by and now I'm inspired in the little moments by people. So I'm very inspired when I feel connected. I think when I feel connected to also my own intuition, and all of us, then I can go on and on and on. I don't even get tired. When we're creating the new, I'm very inspired by creating the new.
Okay.
If it's bureaucracy and old stuff, I really get very tired. So I'm inspired by the hope that we can create a world that actually really works for all.
Interesting. And I'm going to come to my last question to you now. And this is a question that I ask a lot of my friends, and it comes back to the pandemic that we are all going through. In Switzerland, you're not that badly affected, but the rest of the world is. But life is changing for everyone.
Yes.
My question to you is, how are you rethinking your life?
Yes, good question. And even here, it's been not so good. I mean, I'm rethinking because the whole everything changed for everybody. It changed all over the world. And
correct.
So on the one hand, it has made us. I feel like in some way I feel more vulnerable too, because even our activity was like carpet under our feet disappeared because we did. Correct. Most of our income came from gathering people in live meetings. So we can't do that. We changed. We're doing online meetings, of course, but still it's a different little thing. And then I'm also thinking, I'm so used to going out and seeing friends and so on. So I started to really appreciate, I think I'm really looking forward to going to Norway when I can again to see my family. And then sort of like, I really appreciate those good connections with family and close friends that I don't always see.
Correct.
I'm even more confirmed with my work in some ways because I see the values that I've been working for and with is even more important. So that's been confirmed, and maybe even to be less shy about that, because there was a time I also felt, oh God, this is different. This is not the way, maybe I'm weird or something. And then I feel, oh no, you're not weird. You're normal. Actually, this is good. So that has changed. So I feel, with full confidence go forward.
Correct.
But it's something about, appreciating the small things. Also, when things are so risky, I've also become even more appreciative of every day, a little cup of tea, this moment, how wonderful it is. So it's just, how can I enjoy every moment? Because we don't know. I can lose my business, my life, for everything, any moment. So we have to be very present, I think, and enjoy the sunshine, the tree, the bird that's just there.
Yes.
that has changed.
And live every day as it comes.
Exactly. I love
Okay.
that. And I totally, and trust, because it's a marvelous, we are here. Here we are. We are having a good conversation right now.
Christine, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure speaking to you. I wish Win, you, and everything else that you're doing lots of success.
Thank you so much. It was lovely talking to you also.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.